Come on in.
Welcome to Juice in the Morning. I am your host, Justin Juice Kelly. To my left is Shane Chipper Jones.
Oh God,
how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man.
How do you like being called Shane Chipper Jones? Because I know that you were talking about it being used at work a little bit.
So now they write that on the board when I work, and I had a new girl ask me last night. She's like, "Are you Chipper?" And I was like
the emotion,
like. Well, she knows my name is Shane, and then she asked, like, "Are you Chipper?" Because she needed to get her work checked or whatever. So I go, I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And they were like, she's like, "Why do they write that?" And I was like, "It's probably because it's the opposite of what I am."
Exactly.
And she laughed and walked away, and just didn't feel like trying to explain it to her. So
yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. So, what is your personality at work? Because when I was a server, I was like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Like,
well, that's how I am with my tables.
Excited with my tables, but. Yeah. I mean, even in the back, like, I was like that as well.
Yeah, see, I'm not like that. Unfortunately, like, I probably have no business working. Like, I'm a little bit of an introvert, and I don't really like putting on that fake, like, or whatever. So anytime when I'm at my tables, that's exhausting enough to have to be that much like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then, so when I'm like talking to my coworkers, I'm like, "Get the fuck away from me."
Yeah.
Like, so.
Well, this is episode 99. Next week will be 99.5 because I did the math wrong. Then February 18th, we will be at Legends Bar and Venue in Cheviot, Ohio. We'll be hitting the 100 episode milestone, which is, for me, checking off a bucket list item is doing the live show. I know that, it's a bucket list item, but hopefully as this grows, we'll do more. So maybe it'll just kind of turn the bucket list item into kind of an everyday thing, which would be cool.
Yeah, we just got to continuously keep one-upping ourselves.
Yep. And, there's lots of things planned for the podcast / live show. The guys from Pointless Discussions will be there doing live improv, which I think is I guess improv is always live, but anyways, they'll be doing improv, and I think it's going to be awesome to kind of see their act, and they're going to be opening for us. AP and BJ from the Smugcast will also be there, and I have a feeling they're going to be roasting everybody, and mainly me, because they like to give me a lot of shit, and I just think they're going to be smug. So
smug. I'm actually counting on that.
So
I can't wait them to be just kind of like savages.
Yeah, and they're going to be emceeing the event. I think having them is going to be a great intro, middle, and kind of the end type thing. I think they're going to do a great job. And then there will also be a live painting by an artist named Brian Beck, which he'll be kind of in the background. I'm not sure what he's going to be working on, but it's going to be awesome. And if people can't be at the show, I'm going to be bringing this Mevo camera because I'm obsessed with it, and I just bought it, and I think it's awesome. We're going to be bringing that, and I'm going to try to use that to stream to Facebook Live as well, so people can watch from home, the comfort of their own couch.
And the Wet Bandits will be there.
Yes, the Wet Bandits.
Some have told me that maybe they're a little more there to see them than to see us, which is fine.
Yeah. Fuck you, Brian Titus.
Hashtag we're here for the Wet Bandits.
But yeah, I mean, I want to get into a few things for the episode today. If people can't tell, we don't have a guest today.
Yeah.
But these are some of our favorite podcasts, right?
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Yeah, that way we don't have to actually entertain somebody else. I don't have to make sure my dogs are not jumping on them as soon as they come in the door, that kind of thing.
I'm no longer a guest, so I'm just kind of like...
yeah. You're a co-host now.
No, I just mean when I come over, you do the dogs or whatever. It's
and I don't offer you a drink or anything.
No, you're like, you better have brought your own. Cause
I don't even know if I offered you anything the first time either. I'm a bad host usually.
I've asked for a beer and you've given it to me every time. So
speaking of that, it is Sober February.
Yeah.
I've gone so far this month. It is February 4th.
Yeah.
And I haven't drank yet.
Good.
But I am going to put it on pause today. It is the Super Bowl. Those of you listening on the podcast end of things, just the audio portion, you guys already know who won. So you're either excited because the Patriots lost to the Eagles, unless you are a Patriots fan, well then fuck you. But then you're excited that the Patriots won. I am in full support of the Eagles, as you can tell by my Michael Vick Eagles jersey.
Yeah.
Before I get some shit for wearing a Michael Vick jersey, the guy served his time. I didn't really like Michael Jackson either with what he did with diddling kids and stuff. But, I enjoy it. And every time Thriller comes on, I still jam to it.
See, I have a problem with what Michael Vick did, but the thing with Michael Jackson, I don't like his music solely because of the person. I know you're supposed to be able to to
separate the two,
but I just can't. Like, it's just not something that I like. Oh, I get that that's a thing that you should be able to do, is separate the two, but I can't. So anytime I listen to his music or it comes on, I'm just like, I just get a weird nasty thought of child molestation. So I'm just like, okay, I don't need to listen to it.
I don't know. I can definitely separate the two.
I think Thriller is the only exception because of Halloween and all that. Yeah, so.
What I'm really shocked about is the fact that Michael Vick's on TV now. So I thought that he would never outlive that stigma of being, in prison for dogfighting and for like all the stuff he was
back after, right?
Yeah, and he was in the NFL.
Yeah, he did well.
I mean, well is a
in terms of coming back to football, like I mean,
coming from being in prison for a couple of years.
So,
but he did keep in fighting shape in jail because all you got to do is work out there.
He's doing burpees. That's how they do it. It's the prison workout.
But I wanted to get started early today in the podcast on the Judgment Day subject because I've got something that's got me really fired up. So
all right.
I'm really, I can't wait to get into this. Good segue that time.
Yeah, nice.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Judgment Day with Juice and Shane. All right. So I work in a place where there is public bathrooms, and the men's toilet has been clogged multiple times. So the first thing that I have a problem with is they're clogging the toilet and not telling anybody. So first of all, I'm judging you because if you clog the toilet, own up to it. Let somebody know, because the earlier you get in on that, the more likely it's going to be easy to clean without getting shit on yourself or getting it on the walls or on the floor. So first of all, these people that I have a huge problem with are shitting into the toilet, stuffing it full of toilet paper. Then the next person is shitting on top of that toilet paper. So it's turning it almost into like a shitty lasagna. Like it's literally a layer of shit, layer of toilet paper, layer of shit, layer of toilet paper, till the toilet's almost overflowing. And the problem with it is the janitor refuses to clean it. So me being, the glamorous side of being in a management type position, I get to clean that up. On top of that, the toilet was so full that it was like somebody came in, sat down on the side of the toilet and shit off of the side of the toilet onto the floor. What the fuck is wrong with people? And it's what I've told a ton of people about this story is like, it makes me think that the general public is dirty trash animals. Like they're just gross, nasty people.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
And I don't understand how they can feel okay with that.
I don't know. It's a bold move to just be an adult and shit on the floor.
It's a real bold move, Cotton. We're going to see how this works out for him.
I just think it is a bold move, though, that guy would just be like, all right, man, just come down to this. I'm going to shit on the floor.
Also, being in a member of management, like while I was in the process of like getting it figured out because it was so clogged that even when you were cleaning it out and like plunging it, it still wouldn't flush. Like, so it was cleaned, but it wouldn't flush. So it would just that cycle of shit would continue.
That's probably the kind of guy that doesn't wipe either. You would think if he shits on the floor, he probably just is like, oh, I'll wipe when I get home. Or
and so being on the management side, I just decided, well, these people have lost their privilege to shit.
Yeah.
So I locked the door I used a broom handle and put it over the top of the door and slid the lock closed so that nobody could get into the door.
I don't blame you.
Well, listen to this, how gross people are. Somebody crawled under the door to go take a shit in a toilet that wasn't working.
How
do you have to go to, like, I had this conversation with some coworkers and they were telling me like, that they would rather shit on the floor than shit in their own pants. And I was like,
I might have to agree with that.
My first thought is, I am a grown man. I can hold my shit in long enough to get somewhere else if I can't shit where I'm at.
Yeah, but some people don't have the sphincter power that You know, like some people are
To
different.
clamp it off.
It's all in the DNA, man. I'm one of those people, when I have to take a shit, I gotta find a bathroom or I will shit my pants. That's just a fact. And I think there's other people out there, and there's just some people that can really hold. I mean, that's me.
Well, I'm judging all of you people that
means you
can't
got a
hold
nice,
your shit.
nice, healthy sphincter. But me, on the other hand, I'm just like I got to find somewhere. I've pooped my pants before. I've done it. Like
I have too. I've told the story on the podcast.
I was like in 8th grade, and we got to my dad's house, and I had to poop really bad. And I was with my buddy, and the door would not, like my dad had locked us out basically.
Yeah.
So I had to go around the house and jump the fence. And by the time I got right to the door, I pooped my pants, and then I like shook it out of my pant leg. And then I was like, yeah, dude. So and my friend held that over my head for like years.
I love that.
But like I said, dude,
I love that you shared that story.
you just
That's
got to
great.
own it. Like I shit my pants. I can't help it.
And so that's the other thing that I would like to judge is the fact that if you're gonna shit, at least try to get it into the toilet. I mean, don't sit on the side of the toilet and shit onto the floor, because like I said, it was not a solid shit. It was something I was cleaning off the floor for a good probably half hour to an hour.
Well, they probably just didn't want to poop on top of more poop, and then what if they pooped and the poop touched
them?
The mountain of poop. Gave them a little tap on the butt. But I get, like, don't shit on the floor.
Yeah,
like go somewhere else. Run to.
Well, and
because I know where you work, and I won't, say, but like obviously I know that there's other
places around there,
like within 100 feet.
And at least the intelligent people came to me and was like, can I use the women's restroom? Because I really have to go.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I'll poke my head in there. Hey, anybody in here?
Yeah.
And
so I don't really want to talk about shit anymore. But I will say that my judgment day is for the janitor at your work that won't clean up the poop, because like literally that's your only job. Like, and don't be a janitor.
And the funny thing is she's just like the cleaning.
Is she sassy?
She's the cleaning lady from Family Guy.
Is she sassy?
No, I will not.
Oh man,
no cleaning.
I just assumed that she was. Yeah, like she's just like, nope.
Yeah, that's exactly what she does.
Your job.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like I get it. Like cleaning up shit is demeaning.
Oh yeah,
but then just don't be a janitor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So that's two very, very good judgment days.
Yeah. As soon as you told me that, I was like, really? The lady wouldn't like you? I mean,
yeah. So that is, like I said, the glamorous side of being.
Are you gonna put that on your resume now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
shit cleaner.
It was sparkling clean. You could probably eat off
Just
that
a
floor.
Whole paragraph on your resume that's like, if it goes down and people are shitting on the floor, I got you.
We've got this under
I'll
control.
barehand it.
Oh no, I won't do that. I definitely won't do that. But there's a couple things that we were wanting to do today. So I don't know if you're interested in the. I want you to explain the segment that we've come up with, and we'll have some intro music and stuff like that in the future. But for now, I want you to kind of tell me.
And we're totally just going to try this, and it can completely backfire on us. We don't know what's going to happen, but basically, there's a segment on a local radio station that I'm not sure what they do, but they basically call someone and they just ask them a bunch of pointless questions, and they're not really able to answer them because they're like unanswerable.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is call someone with a famous name,
mm-hmm.
and then we're going to ask them questions as if they were that person.
Yep.
And then, see what kind of reactions we get. And we're going to be very like spitfire. We're not going to, like, if he answers, we're not going to, give it, like, go on with that question. We're just going to ask him another question.
And I think I'm going to introduce it as like, this is a local radio show. And like ask him, like, I don't know, should I introduce it like that, or should I just like start asking questions without even introducing it?
Like make that sound real, then yes, I think you should.
Yeah.
But just be like Z9 or like just say some letters. I don't know. But then so just call and be like. But like I said, just spitfire. Like as soon as he's like, I'm not, and then just go to the next one.
Yeah.
And then I guess at the end, just be like, rest in peace. 'Cause
yeah.
You're not alive anymore. And by the way, we're doing, we're going to start
today.
We just, off the top of my head, I thought a John Wayne would be a funny one. So we're going to call someone with the name of John Wayne.
Yep.
And we're going to ask him what it's like to be John Wayne.
So I don't have a phone number pulled up, so I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and look it up real quick.
Oh my gosh. I should have known. I was thinking about that just now when I was like, he probably doesn't have one ready. We're gonna edit this part out.
No.
Oh my gosh. Just dead space, just taking time out of people's day.
Okay. Fort Wayne, Indiana White Pages.
Not John Wayne from Fort Wayne.
This isn't gonna. It's like gonna be a pain in the ass.
Well, talk about something for a second. I'll look it up.
Let's see. Nope, 0 results found. So while you look that up,
okay,
I don't even know like what. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to act like I am on a radio show, and I'm just going to start asking him questions. We prepared some questions for him, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be entertaining as long as somebody answers. I think that's the key to this right now. And
or we could call John Wayne's Pub and Eatery and ask him about. I don't know.
They'll probably answer.
Yeah.
Did John Wayne really eat here? Yeah, definitely do that.
That's totally believable.
Yeah.
But also, how do I don't want to call him from my number. It'd be my number.
They're not going to have your number. It's definitely a landline.
Yeah, but they probably have caller ID.
They won't get it.
Here, I'll give you the number then.
Don't be a sissy.
I just don't want these people calling me like, why the fuck did you call me?
All right. What's the number?
317.
Okay.
882.
Okay.
8124.
All right. 8124. This is John Wayne's Pub and Eatery.
Just I call and ask for John.
Okay.
John Wayne.
Hi, this is Justin Kelly from WCRD 5678. I would like to ask you guys a few questions. How did you guys get your name for your bar? Is it named after John Wayne?
No, it's not. And I'm sorry, we're kind of busy right now. You need me to run that on there? Your picture? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. She was not having it.
We need to talk to an actual person.
Yeah, we need to talk to a person. They're busy. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
I know. She was like, hey, man, we're busy. I feel her.
And you're doing this to your own kind in the restaurant industry.
I don't give a fuck.
I can't believe it. Well, let's look up a couple people, but let's go on to a different thing, and we'll come back to this. All right.
Yeah.
So gambling is really big, especially it is Super Bowl Sunday. And there's I kind of am interested in looking for somebody out there, maybe in Facebook world, or just somebody that's interested in gambling or who does a lot of gambling, or knows a lot about it, because I would like to do a segment where people call in and kind of give us their lines, their bets, and things like that. But with the Super Bowl, I know the audio listeners are listening to this already know some of these, but these are kind of crazy prop bets for the Super Bowl. So I don't know if do you know what a prop bet is?
I don't.
So a prop bet is like something that is outside of the actual game, that is like an interesting thing that somebody could bet on. So for example, what color will Pink's hair be when she sings the national anthem?
Wow.
So I think that's hilarious.
My
because
bet's on pink.
See, that's the thing, but
or blonde.
That's like like they have the odds like listed underneath it. Will Pink be airborne at any point during the national anthem? I thought that was hilarious.
You can bet on this stuff?
Yeah, like is she gonna float in like on like those wires like Lady Gaga did in the what was it, 2 Super Bowls ago when she did the halftime show? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Katy Perry was one of the people from with the Sharks. Remember the Sharks dancing? Yeah. And that's kind of what I remember. But I think you're right. Didn't she jump off of something?
Yeah, I don't know, the edge of the like top of the
just like
stadium.
I don't really remember, honestly.
But also, so the plus will Pink be airborne at any point is plus 300, minus 500. So like there's for plus 300 for yes, minus 500 for no. How many times will Janet Jackson be mentioned during the broadcast? There's an over under of 1.5.
I saw a meme today that said, oh, did you guys know that there's some kind of football game going on at the Justin Timberlake's concert?
Yeah. And also, will Nipplegate be said on the broadcast?
Nipplegate. Okay. Maybe that's a good hashtag for us. I don't know.
Because you do remember that. You remember Justin Timberlake ripping the...
and she had like the little sun piercing. Yeah. That was strange.
And then how many times will the Rocky statue be shown during the broadcast? Which is hilarious because one of, the biggest sports figures in Philadelphia history is a fictional character from a movie.
Yeah, he's based off of...
based off of it, but it's
Rocky
still Sylvester Stallone's likeness.
Yo, Adrian. Hey, you guys.
So those are some of the...
get knocked down. You gotta get back up.
That's actually a pretty good impression.
Thanks,
I like that. Hey. It's almost like you've tried that before.
And then you gotta be, what's his name, Mick? That's like, get in there, Rocky.
Get in there, Rocky.
Something like that. This angry old man.
And with his like one eye closed, like I couldn't tell what was wrong with him, if he had like a lazy eye or if it was just like, I don't know, if he like had maybe had a stroke and like half his face was numb or something.
I just chalk that up to being old.
Yeah. You just start doing weird stuff with your face when you get old.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with being older, it becomes like more just your body just starts. Don't say Spider-Man. With getting older becomes more responsibility. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like when you're 12, you're just like, gotta go to school today.
You knew exactly where I was going with it.
I did, yeah.
That's crazy. Did you find a phone number?
Man, it's hard. All these places want to, like, you're like, look up a name, and then they want to charge you for the number.
So we'll think this segment out a little bit more, I think, for the future, because I don't know if we're going to be able to find it.
I'm going to try really hard.
So... I'm kind of just talking to myself though while you're doing that.
I'm talking. I just said the whole thing about Spider-Man and all that. Jeez. Didn't you used to do these podcasts by yourself?
I did do them by myself, and they were really boring.
Okay.
I mean, even for me, to be honest.
You're sitting here talking like.
So what else do I have to talk about? Speaking of the Super Bowl, though, there is the NFL Hall of Fame announcements.
Yeah,
it was a strong class. Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, murderer. Brian Dawkins, and Brian Urlacher.
Is there anybody out there that doesn't think that Terrell Owens should be in it?
Oh, there's a ton of people that are out there that they just don't like him. They don't like what he like stood for during, being controversial.
How long did he even play though? I don't feel like he played very long.
He was at least 8 or 9 years. I mean, he was with quite a few different teams, but I mean, he had some of the like most memorable performances. Like he came back from breaking his leg and played in the Super Bowl when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, that's just insane, and had a great game.
Pretty impressive.
And just the amount of production he was having would have surpassed everybody if he would have, I think, continuously been on a team for a long time instead of kind of screwing himself over and getting traded to multiple teams.
Yeah, like his character and all that was great and all, but like just tone it down a little bit to where it's enough to get you like continuously on a team or stay on a team instead of being so gosh darn crazy.
But I mean, it's an extremely strong class because all of those guys, I mean, I might be just biased because I grew up watching Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Ray Lewis, Brian Dawkins. I mean, one of the hardest hitting safeties I've ever seen. It was awesome.
Brian Dawkins.
He had this like the black visor on his helmet, and like it was kind of even before a lot of people had him.
That makes me think of LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yep, it was like him.
Yeah,
but Brian Dawkins, man, was a crazy hitter, and then Brian Urlacher, one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time.
Duh, Bears.
But it's interesting because they announced all these people, and then they're like going to do an actual show where they induct them into the Hall of Fame. I saw some people complaining like, you guys announced all of these, so what point do I, or what motivation do I have to watch the actual broadcast when you guys like actually put them into the Hall of Fame when you announce everybody?
I guess it's just you get to see these people get inducted, actually physically get inducted. Yeah. If you don't want to watch it, then I guess just don't watch it. I see
both sides. Like I'm not going to watch it because I care and I think it's cool,
dude. I think it's really cool to find out who like the Colts get in the draft and stuff like that. But I literally do not give a shit about the draft. Like I hate when that shit's on and people. Yeah, I mean, like I just don't watch it, and I see how it's something cool to somebody else, but I just like, man, like watching people get drafted is like the least exciting thing ever.
And some of the best parts of the Super Bowl. I know this is turning into a Super Bowl show, but that's what is on my mind.
I mean, it is today, and it is a big deal. So,
but is beer commercials. So some of the best commercials I think are during the Super Bowl, and they've kind of lacked lately. They haven't been that entertaining the last couple of years. But one of my favorites, obviously, of all time is the Budweiser Frogs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was great.
Budweiser.
But then they got way better when they started having like the chameleons or something like that, like being pissed because the frogs were so famous. Like I loved the like continuation of the storyline.
There's going to be a medieval. That's what you talked about.
I posted it on Facebook.
I was like, who was? I was like, it was you. Facebook. About people like the continuous like battle of medieval.
Oh, dude, if it's not awesome, I'm going to be very disappointed because I feel like they've built it up with this dilly thing so much.
I'm very love-hate with that because as much as I think those commercials are great and they're funny, the amount of people that I have to listen to on a daily basis working at a bar that are like dilly. There's this guy at the bar.
You probably see the worst parts of people.
Kind of when they've been drinking and they're like arguing, and you can see first dates.
Oh yeah,
you can tell when a couple's arguing. They're like, oh, they don't know I'm arguing, but they know.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, you can tell. There's like an energy in the air when you're
part of your body language.
But anyways, there's this guy, and he was just like they came in like later in the night, and they'd already been drinking somewhere else, obviously, and he just kept going. Like going to the tables around him, like dilly, and they're like dilly, man, shit.
Yeah, get the fuck away from me.
They kept like, okay, yeah, dude, I'm trying to enjoy myself and eat my titles dip. Can you leave me alone, please?
Dilly,
like continue, like you know what I mean. So that guy was a little annoying, and I had to tell like my tables like, hey, I'm really sorry, that guy's a douche. One dilly is enough.
Yeah, and you know. I like that they compete, and I feel like they compete for the best commercial. Some of the best ones were those tech commercials back in the day, but you don't remember any of like what they were about. So, for example, like the GoDaddy commercials, like I didn't even know what GoDaddy was for 3 or 4 years, but I loved their Super Bowl commercials.
Think of Danica Patrick.
Yeah, she's not that great, but people think she's hot.
Yeah,
I don't think she's hot.
Really into the homeboy now.
Yeah, she's dating Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, she really hit the lotto with that one.
He looks like a goose. I've said it before.
He's
got a big nose.
Strange looking. I can't really put him to one animal, but he does look
that is actually a question that this is not in my notes, and I just thought of it off the top of my head. What animal do you think we look like?
Oh, man. Well, apparently, according to Shadow, we are the same person. We're just two white guys with beards, and we automatically look the same, I guess.
Whatever.
But I don't know, dude. I don't feel like I look like an animal. Like, I don't know, since I'm hairy and really not a big guy, so something that's like, I don't know, like a fucking Wolverine.
I was thinking like koala bear.
Well, I like to think of myself as like this, like a bear, but I'm not a bear. Like when you think of a guy that's a bear, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So since I'm hairy and smaller and kind of stocky, I think like I said, like I don't even really know what a Wolverine looks like, or like a badger.
Yeah, a badger, I think.
Something like
but
that.
they've got like little faces.
Yeah, that's true. I really never looked into the eyes of a badger.
You didn't like the koala bear?
That just sounds like. I think you just picked the most demeaning animal you can think of.
No.
Oh, you don't like the little baby koala bear? That's what you did.
No, that's definitely not where I was going, but I like that's where you went with it. I've always been told that I look like a squirrel, but that's when my face is shaved.
I don't even know what that is.
Sphinx. That's like a tiger with a human's face.
Yeah, that's you.
I'm
just kidding. I don't know. I'm just saying so. Well, since you're like taller, I don't think of you as like a.
That's true.
So it would have to be something like, I don't know. You don't have like a horse face or anything.
Yeah, it's the best when you actually find somebody that's specific. Like they look like something.
Definitely a mammal.
Yep.
Warm-blooded for sure. I don't know.
But yeah, so the beer commercials are funny. The commercials in general are funny. I have a example of a commercial that I'd like to play for you guys that was created by Adam Boutier. I hope I said that right, at EHAP Podcast. You guys have to see this, Shane.
You wouldn't drive a vehicle built in a faraway country with laws Jesus himself wouldn't obey. Nah, that ain't you. And you wouldn't live in a log cabin built by the Japanese. No way, Jose. Be too small and probably have some weird high-tech toilet that takes videos of you doing your business and posts it on some German fetish website. When you walk into a bar, you don't order a beer that comes in a fruity bottle and looks like some pussy hipster's neck tattoo with some ironic name that nobody understands. Nah, you're a man. You lift with your heart and your back because you're smart enough to realize they know how to fix legs. You know the only real car is a truck. When you light your cigarette backwards, you don't just throw it away. Nah, you rip that filter off and smoke it right down to your fingertips. You grab your wife inappropriately at barbecues in front of your friends and laugh. You'd eat chicken if it came from a cow, and you wouldn't eat chicken because chicken's for vegans and fat people. You'd vote Trump in for a third term because he tells it like it is, and that pisses off your libtard in-laws. That's why when you reach down into that icebox, you reach for an ice-cold River Creek Lager. 100% American-made beer. None of that hoppy bullshit that makes a beer taste like kissing a man after he's drank too much tequila. Our beer is 22% alcohol by volume, the way man intended. You don't need a designated driver. Shit, you married one. Our can's got pictures of mountains and apex predators on it. Here at River Creek, you won't find a light beer. Nah, light beer's for 14-year-olds and skinny jeans and people with autoimmune diseases. Next time you roll into the liquor store, you grab yourself a case of River Creek Lager, and if a stranger asks you how it tastes, you just mean mug them and do a burnout in the parking lot. River Creek Lager, strong beer for strong men and women if she drives truck. River Creek Lager, stay strong.
Oh man, that's great.
It's really good, isn't it?
The best kind of car is a truck. There's so many other good one-liners in that.
Your libtard family.
Libtard.
No, I think that they did a fantastic
do they mean
job.
Libertarian?
No, like like liberal, but
Okay.
and
It could
retarded.
be, yeah, I mean-
So libtard.
All right, got it.
But I thought that was perfect because of all the dilly commercials, all the beer
and the
commercials.
animal talk.
Yeah, it's great. It's perfect.
At the end, it was pretty great.
Yeah, I think maybe you look like a wolf. A wolf, a little
Sweet.
bit.
I'll take that all day.
A little bit like a wolf.
Yeah.
So another, and this is something I didn't even tell you about before the podcast, but I think that a segment that we should do is the meme of the week. But it's got to be like, obviously this is an audio medium, so it's got to be kind of well thought out how you describe it. But for example, my meme of the week is Tanya Harding, a picture of Tanya Harding and like the person that she broke their kneecaps. And the meme is, back in my day when an athlete took a knee, they took a knee.
Oh, dang. That's deep. Someone put some thought into
It's
that.
because somebody obviously took a baseball bat to her competitor's knee.
Pipe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't a baseball bat. I was immediately thinking baseball bat.
She had her...
it was a metal pipe.
Her ex-husband, I
That's
think. I'm pretty
insane.
sure. He was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fuck yeah.
If you meet me at Applebee's for a date next week, I will
he
hit that bitch with a pipe.
He turns into the guy from Happy Gilmore. Like,
which one?
The guy that hits Happy with the car. And he's like, I got these gift certificates to Sizzler.
Sizzler. I love the dude with a nail in his head.
Play it as it lies, shooter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my meme of the...
I eat shit like you for breakfast. You eat shit for breakfast? No.
But that was my meme of the week. Do you happen to have one off the top of your head that
since you didn't tell me
watched?
about this.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about it until I just saw it.
Nope.
No,
Sure
not
don't.
today.
Put
But
me
we'll
on the
have it.
spot.
But so now we have a couple different segments that we need to work on,
Yeah.
obviously.
I can't believe you were just like, you called that John. And you were just like, she was just like, no, and we're really busy.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, bye.
It threw me off. I didn't know what to do.
It was just funny. It was just so totally backfired on us.
I'll definitely work
If
on
we
that.
just have someone's number that's John Wayne, that could have went so much better, but we didn't really produce on that.
We didn't plan ahead. But then also you've come up with a couple of would you rathers before.
Yeah.
I actually had one that I just saw just scrolling through the internet. Like I said, I'm just playing around, and I want to hear your take on this lie detector test in front of. Oh, no. Would you rather have a lie detector test in front of your parents? Actually, I think it's lie detector test with your parents, like asking you the questions, or answer every text that you get honestly, like when somebody asks you something. So like every time they text you, you have to reply honestly.
It would just be a whole bunch of like, do you want to hang out? I'm like, no. Well, I got this thing. I really can't. That's usually what it is.
So, and okay, so let me like preface this too. I think that this question is basically going to you and saying, who would you rather lie to, your parents or your friends?
Yeah, but your parents text you as well.
That's true.
But, I mean, I'm pretty honest with my parents.
Yeah, that's the part that I was going to bring up in my half.
And I can't really think of anything that they would want to know that I may have lied about, because I'm pretty honest to my parents. So I'd tell them to go for it. And I don't think my parents would be like they wouldn't be like, oh, we're going to get him. We're going to.
Yeah, like you don't think they would come up with a question that they don't want to know the answer to.
They would probably just be like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But if they're being forced to do it, then they would probably just ask a bunch of
dumb questions.
And or like, I can't think of one thing that my parents don't know. I mean, there's probably some things.
The other thing that I don't like about the lie detector is the lie detector has been shown to be false sometimes. So what if they ask you like, do you love me? And you say yes. And it's like, no.
All these Maury episodes have just been, I didn't know that. So now I'm just like,
oh, it's definitely like, and people can train themselves to answer the questions.
Yeah, those are called psychopaths. Those are people that don't have feelings or they're just like, when you start to believe the lies that you're telling people, then yeah, you can pass stuff like that.
And anybody that's listening or watching on the Facebook Live, like if you know somebody that can get
all two people,
a lie detector, actual like, I don't know, like the machine. I would love to do that. I would love to be hooked up to one.
Seismographer. I just made that. I'm just kidding.
I did believe you too.
I mean, you looked at me like,
let's play a second.
Seismograph. I know it has a graph in it.
But I think that, that's why I like the Would You Rathers, though, because they're kind of like a...
I'm going to come up with a real quick one.
Okay.
Would you rather cut your dick off? Or would you rather drink a shot of bleach?
Shit, I mean, I'd have to look at the...
contents of the bleach.
Yeah, and I'd have to look and see if it's on...
a shot's not very much, so I'm going to say,
well, you'd have to look at the poison control list and see if it's going to kill you or not.
I'm talking about
you have no choice.
I got a knife in one hand. Right now. I got a knife in one hand and a cup of bleach in the other.
I'm going with the bleach. I'm taking my chances.
Me too.
I feel like I'm tough enough that I could actually survive that.
There's
if I needed
actually this video that I just thought of that might be really good for the live show that we could judge. But it's this guy and he's standing in line at the gas station and he's like, there's one person in front of him and he has bleach in his hand and he just pulls the cap off and drinks it and then just collapses on the ground.
Jesus. Yeah. What the fuck?
I don't know. He's like, I can't even pay for it. I'm just
Well, maybe he was ending it early. He's like, you know what? I don't even have the money to buy this fucking bleach. I'm just going to end my life right now.
I feel like that's come on, people, put some thought into how you want to kill yourself. Do you want it to hurt? I feel like if you drank bleach, that's going to really fuck your stomach up.
I definitely don't want to just think about how I would end my own life.
But I'm sure you have.
I don't know.
I mean, everyone, I like to, like I said, when we talk about the worst case scenario thing, I like to occupy ideas. I'm not saying that's how I feel.
No, I know.
But it's if I were to kill myself, how would I do it?
It just shows also the difference between us because I don't, like I said, I don't think I've ever even thought of
I think about
I've thought of ways that I think would be, acceptable ways to die.
Yeah.
And once again,
I just hate when people are like, I just hope I go on my sleep.
It shows my narcissistic side because I'm like, man, if I'm going to die, I want to be dying saving somebody or saving a group of people. So I'm always remembered.
You're professionally famous. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's right here.
You're so just as long as they, I get you want to leave a legacy.
And the sad thing is it's not even to save the people. It's to be remembered for saving the people. I really could care less if I save the people or not. It's more what I care about is being known for the fact that I saved the people.
We are different in that sense because I don't really give a shit what people think at all, but I care. I want to, probably the most important person I want to think of me as is my daughter. Like for her to be like, wow, my dad was great. That's or my my girlfriend or my parents or anything like that. But beyond that, like other people, I really don't. A lot of people like are obsessed with like leaving behind this legacy. A lot of people that are like in politics and famous people, they're all about like, I have to be remembered. Or even people that do like mass shootings and killings and bombings and stuff, they do that because they just want to be remembered.
Yeah, like I have said that before. That is a quote from me. I'd rather be infamous than not be famous.
So you're going to kill a bunch of people at one point in your life.
Definitely not going to do that. But
all right, Jeffrey Dahmer, chill
out. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to just kind of keep doing this podcast and see where it goes. Because, for example, I don't think I even asked you anything about your because we talked very briefly about Sober February, and I said what happened with me, but then we just kind of moved past it. So
it's not really hard for me. Not
really
drink.
That difficult.
There's been times where I want to, but I just don't. And I haven't had much trouble with it. I was gonna say like the times that I would have trouble with it are like the live show or going out with my friends and stuff. But I think just for this month, I just won't go out and hang out with people as much, because I know if I go to the bar, there's no scenario where I go to a bar and I don't drink.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just gonna stay out of doing that, and then drink once for the live show, and then because I'll have to, because I'll be nerves.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think I feel like drinking during the live show or at beforehand or whatever, I feel like it would almost be rude not to, because they are allowing us to use their venue, and to be able to buy a few drinks from them, I think is just a little bit of compensation. The least we could do.
Yeah.
And also,
we're bringing them people that maybe not would have not been there if I'm not saying a lot, but
yeah. And I think it is terrible, because the problem with me is all I was thinking about is the first day of February was like,
I know you sent me a text at like 8:30 in the morning, and
I was on my way to work, and I was like,
just remembered.
And the night before, like I had a glass of scotch, because I bought a nice like bottle of scotch, and I had a glass of scotch and just kind of like chilled and did my normal routine before going to bed.
Yeah.
And woke up, got to work, and was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I think it's important.
It started now.
I think it's important that we just like embrace it, so that we get the full effect of being sober for that month, and like really just like get all the good things that come from being sober, and then just kind of try to forget about.
Well, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, the last 2 or 3 episodes I've done, I've been pretty hungover from the night before. Yeah. And going into this one, I felt like great. Like I have a lot of energy. Like I'm not feeling like I've told people before, like I've had the hangovers where I get like hangover anxiety, where I don't really want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything except for just like hang out by myself.
Yeah. And don't feel that way.
And I don't feel that way today, which is awesome. I know it's only been 4 days, and I am going to drink some beers today because it is the Super Bowl, but I am going to do, I think the same thing, is just add a day in March. I think my wife did give me shit because she was like, so you don't want to just do 30 consecutive days? Like,
I wanted to give you shit too when you texted me and you were like, you think it's okay if I just...
A lot of people have. A lot of people are like...
But, I mean, who am I to tell you whether, I'm going to do mine the way, like, just by... I'm still not doing it right either, but I don't see any scenario where I'm able to go to that live show and not look like an idiot on stage without a couple beers in me.
Yeah, and...
I think it's like, regardless, I'm gonna be a fumbling idiot on stage or whatever, but I think that I'll be a lot more tamed if I have a couple drinks.
On top of that, though, I feel like when I was trying to come up with a month that we weren't going to drink at all for the whole month, February felt like a good idea. If it wasn't for the Super Bowl and the live show, I probably could have done that.
Yeah, but you can, like you said,
I'm weak. I'm weak about alcohol. I'm not gonna lie.
Excuses.
There's events every single month that I like to at least drink at that event.
So like, I get that you picked this month because there's things, but they're also they're excuses.
Yeah, they are,
because every month has something in it.
I completely understand.
My dad's birthday is this month. I will not be having a beer with my dad on his birthday. So
yeah.
Unless I do,
Exactly. And like I said, we're doing this. I'm doing it just because I wanted to see if I could, and clearly I can't.
Yeah.
So
we can do it the best we can.
Yeah, and I'm just accepting it, and you guys should accept us for that as well.
Yeah.
But I just think, like I said, what we've talked about is there is something that is associated with drinking every month of the year. And it's actually a good ploy by the alcohol industry to associate things with that. If you think about it, because, and that got me down a rabbit hole of like, when I was just kind of doing one of those things where I'm sitting thinking while I'm driving, I was like, I wonder if that's connected at all, that, there's all these holidays and they're spread out throughout the year. I wonder if like alcohol businesses and things like that are related to the holidays. Like, because if you think about it, there's Valentine's Day. What's the first alcohol you think of for Valentine's Day? Wine. So then there is March. What's the first thing you think about for March?
March Madness.
What's the other one?
I don't know.
17th of March.
I don't know.
St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Green beer. Then there's April Fool's Day. You don't drink on April Fool's Day?
It's my mom's birthday.
That's awesome. No, I'm justifying it in the fact that I'm thinking that there is literally an event every month.
I think you're right when you say alcohol companies just base their business off of those holidays, but I think the holidays came before the alcohol.
Well, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I was just saying that I think that they use that as like a cool association, and then you grow up your whole life associating stuff with things, that, and then it's hard to not like live and do those things.
A perfect example is like St. Patty's Day. They're like green beer, so it's like that's what I associate with St. Patty's Day is green beer. So, and that's a perfect example of. I don't know if it was an alcohol company that did it or a beer company that did it first, but somebody along the line decided to make beer green.
Yeah.
So it's like...
And it's terrible for when you shit the next day if we want to take it full circle.
And just like green.
It's super green and
Have
gross.
you ever eaten beets?
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, I'm dying. I'm dying. And you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot. I ate beets once a year. Like, when do you eat beets? Never.
Somebody said dilly dilly, by the way, on the Facebook comments. You only need one, though. You only need one. Right?
Guy. He found us and he's like, dilly dilly. I don't even like Bud Light.
I'm Miller Lite guy, and people give me shit for being a light beer guy too. But
I've never seen my dad. My dad drinks Miller Lite, and he has since I've seen.
I started with Bud Light when I was a little bit before I was 21, but I never drank beer until I was like 19 or 20. It was always
liquor. You were
vodka.
A liquor guy.
Yep. Cheap vodka. Plastic handle.
Dark Eyes.
Oh yeah, half gallon. Kamchatka, Dark Eyes. Popov.
I drank a lot of beer in high school. Me and my buddy Mike would like take Busch Lights out of his dad's fridge and then basically drink them in like an hour and then try to figure out how we were going to replace them the rest of the night. And we did that a couple times.
The once again, you've probably already heard me talk about this, but the reason that I think we drank the cheap vodka, A, cheap, B, it was easy to transport because you could put it into like other things. Like you could put it into like a fountain pop from the gas station, or you could put it into a Gatorade. Yeah, there you go. You could put it into like a Gatorade bottle or just a water bottle.
Yeah,
because
I know people used to drink at school.
Oh
like
yeah,
water bottles with vodka.
Not gonna lie, I got away with that a couple times.
I was like, dude, I don't know how you would do that because like I was just doing whatever I could to stay awake, and like alcohol just makes you like. Yeah. If I was drunk, like I was an idiot when I was like 17, so like if I was just a little bit drunk at school, I would have got caught.
Water bottles got banned actually from our school because of that.
Yeah, I was always a beer and mostly beer guy in high school. I think. I mean, I drank whatever was there, obviously, but remember they did like the jungle juice and all that stuff. But I mostly drink like Keystone Light. I remember on
Keystone was a big one.
Spring break,
30 rack.
Yeah, we had Dirty 30, but we had like this countertop, and it was literally 3 high tower of about 8 feet each way
of cans.
And it was just cans from
Empties.
Spring break.
Hopefully they were all empty too, because I can't stand when you clean up and you find the 3/4 full or the one that's just been opened and not even drank.
It's got like dip in it.
Yeah, gross people. People are trash. They really are. I'm sorry, you're trash out there.
I've never actually done this, but I've seen someone like accidentally drink someone else's.
Oh
dip.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I actually was playing beer pong and somebody hit a cup, and we were actually playing real beer pong where you drink the cup when people hit it, and we were filling it with beer.
Yeah, back in the day.
Chugged it. I shit you not, I drank a cigarette, like a couple cigarette butts, and they were not my cigarettes either.
Can we talk about how?
And then immediately like threw them back up. And they were on, like, the cigarette butts were on, like,
That's
the floor.
Gross,
yeah,
dude.
It was disgusting.
Can we talk about how 9 times out of 10 when you played beer pong with the beer in the cups, it was always with, I feel like, the nasty people. And then 2, the ball you're in a garage.
Oh, it's so gross.
You're in a garage. God knows what has touched that
Dog
garage
hair.
floor. Oh, it's always the dirt, like their dog's like there. And he's like, yeah, that's my hair, bro. Like that.
You're drinking me.
Yeah. You're drinking me. And then just like, and then everybody at that party's playing, putting their mouths on the, like, looking back on it.
As a germaphobe, how did you handle that? You probably didn't even notice. Or you did.
I would just get drunk and not think about it.
Care.
But I would say I was one of the first innovators of the old water in the cup, because I really pushed for that. Once I saw someone do it, I was like, yeah, I was like, you guys know if you put water in the cup, like, just because I didn't want to do that. So.
Do you remember the outbreak of H1N1? Like, it was like a cold symptom or like a flu type or something that was really... it was like really rampant when I was in...
I know what H1N1
when I was in college in 2008, 2009. So I started calling it H1N1
it's like the
pong.
Bird flu?
Is that the same thing? I think that's... Well, it's a whatever it is.
And then there was like the...
But I was calling beer pong H1N1 pong because we would put water, and... Like, some people got it and thought it was really funny, and then everybody else was like, it's right over their fucking head.
Yeah, whatever you said, man. Like,
exactly. As I'm pouring more water into the cup.
That's a weird name for it, but sure, I'll play.
But yeah, some people get my humor, some people don't.
It's not for everybody.
It's not.
How lame would it be if everyone got your jokes?
I don't know. It'd be probably pretty cool because then you could be pretty famous.
Because then you'd just be saying stuff, and then like you would get numb to the laughter. You'd be like, God, I'm not even like. You would start doubting your funniness. Like, why did
maybe maybe not?
It's like when you're rich and you have a bunch of rich. I'm not saying I wouldn't know, but if you're rich and then you have all these friends,
said, good way to get herpes. By the way,
yeah, that's what I mean. And then so you're sitting there, you're like laughing at this rich person's joke just because you want to hang out with a rich person,
Yeah, I don't laugh at people's jokes if they're not funny though.
Imagine being like Drake or something, and then like you don't, like
imagine being just anybody that's a celebrity.
No new friends where my real friends at.
I would be okay with it though, even if people were just acting.
I'm like, I could give you any fucking scenario, and you're like, yeah, that's fine.
If people are acting nice to me,
that's
when
the
you're
same
like,
when you're like
being
60
nice to me.
and you have all this money, but all your family members have just really hated you and stopped hanging out with you because you're a rich asshole. You're like, yeah, totally, that's fine.
Totally, I'm all right with that.
As long as I'm famous.
And that's how it would probably be.
Yeah, I'm just like, mine's like...
And then on my deathbed, I would be trying to like reconcile all of these things.
Mine's like, give me enough to pay my bills and enough so I can go to Applebee's once a week. Shit like that.
That's just a very specific restaurant.
I mean,
do you like Applebee's?
It's not bad. I worked there in high school, but I don't mind. It's not my favorite by any means, but I'm just giving you an example. Yeah. I didn't.
We're definitely there's a Ponderosa down the road, and we just found out about it, and we're gonna try it out. I haven't been since I worked there in 2002.
Is it as gross as people think in terms of like
when I worked there in the one in Greenfield? Yeah, it was pretty gross, but I'm assuming they're different based on where their location is.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just mean like how they prepare the food, and that should be pretty
universal. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember it being gross, but I didn't work in the back. I worked as a cashier and a server.
I did,
which is hilarious because Jen asked me. She was like, "So did you actually make like very much money from tips as a server? Because it's a buffet. Like,
brought drinks.
Yeah, you bring drinks and like." People can order steaks and baked potatoes and
drink
stuff.
Drink maker.
Come hither.
Garçon. I had somebody call me that the other night, and I was like, really?
There was a lot of old ladies with quarters for your tip. So you get like
some quarters for you, Justin.
You get like $1 in quarters from an old lady.
Now, you don't all spend that in one place here, Justin.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
That's the old lady quote.
We're doing this way too much together already.
You knew I was going to.
So I know you're a huge fan of Chris D'Elia. Did you see?
I was listening to his podcast on the way here.
Did you see the thing that he did that he posted on Twitter where he bought the same outfit as
the guy? Yeah, and he's like, He said the funniest line. He gets up on the stage with the guy that so basically,
I wanted to play it because he like posted it. So
yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead and describe it while I find it.
So basically, Chris D'Elia, the comedian, has this he has an opener for him. I'm not sure what the guy's name is, but he's a comedian, and they've been traveling around together. And this guy was telling him, he's like, "Yeah, I just bought this new outfit, and I'm gonna wear it on the show, and it's gonna be like, I'm so excited, like I'm really gonna come into my own, and I'm gonna, with this outfit and blah blah blah." So Chris D'Elia goes out and buys the exact same outfit, and then gets out of the car and like surprises the guy, and it's like, it's just funny that
I can't believe I can't find him on. Is it Chris D'Elia? Delia, right?
Yeah, but I think there's like the apostrophe in there because it's French.
Stupid.
But anyways, and then he gets up on stage and basically tells the whole crowd that he wore that, like he matched him or whatever.
Yeah, and his tweet was, "I absolutely hate when people tweet links to Instagram, but you must click and watch this as it's the greatest thing I've ever done." So you described exactly what happened. He bought the exact same outfit.
He explains it too, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to play all of them. It's like 4 clips or something that.
Yeah.
So I just really wanted to play the one where he's actually talking about the guy in the club, which is hilarious.
How fucking ridiculous is it that he started to dress like me? Because I'm the fucking headliner, and this fucking guy thinks that he can pull some fucking Chris D'Elia shit, dude? Get the fuck out of here, dude. You don't dress like daddy, dude. You don't dress like daddy.
Don't dress like daddy.
You don't dress like the fucking hand that feeds you, okay?
Dress like the hand that feeds.
He looks so sincere right now.
Look at this shit.
Tell them the
You
truth.
fucking beta.
You beta. Yeah. So how
best-
would you feel if somebody did that to you though? Like somebody you were working with. Like that's a big crowd.
Yeah, it'd be funny. That guy, it's just giving him a hard time.
I know, but man, that I think would crush me a little bit at first.
I don't give a shit. I would just been like, I would just thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But the don't bite the hand that dress, or what is it?
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
No, but he used it. He's like, don't dress like the hand that feeds you, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's better that way.
Whatever. But that's what I got for the podcast so far today, Shane. So what other stuff did you bring?
How far are we in here?
What did you bring?
How far are we in here?
I don't know.
I need to know. Are we 55 minutes? Are we 45 minutes?
We're about an hour.
Okay. I was going to say, something we haven't talked about in a long time is conspiracies.
Oh, yeah. There's a guy that is on the Smugcast. His name is, they call him CT. I want to get him scheduled to come on to talk because, dude, he works with InfoWarriors. Mm-hmm. I would love to talk to him about stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe next podcast we'll just come up with
next week we actually have somebody that's a guest, but then maybe the one after that, which is the live show. So then the one after that.
What if they want to talk about? We can just
who the new guest?
Who's coming on next week? Are you not saying?
I'm going to say it at the end.
Oh, okay, but I was going to say maybe they want to talk about a conspiracy.
They might.
Depending on their...
What conspiracies do you have right now?
I don't have any.
So my favorite conspiracy is that the NFL is rigged and it's all just a larger version of professional wrestling.
It's a little much.
You don't think so?
I think there's some truth to that. I think it's a little... I don't know.
But it also goes back to my thinking of the Patriots being the best team in the NFL, that it makes me go as far to think that it's rigged and that it's a conspiracy because they are that good.
No, I just think they're a really, really good team.
No, I know. I'm just saying that
when I would
pushed me to that level.
Yeah, when I would base my decision off whether the NFL is rigged or not, I wouldn't base it off how good the Patriots are. I would just base it off of, like, I don't know. Sometimes games seem to get directed in ways that don't make sense.
Definitely. And then there
decisions are made that you're like, I don't know, why would you make that decision? Kind of stuff like that.
And then there is a podcast that I just listened to, which I think you need to listen to. It's called The Crab Feast, and it's 2 comedians. They're pretty funny guys. And they had a guy on there, Steve, I think it's Steve Cantwell. But anyways, the guy tells a story of taking a huge bong rip of salvia. He had never done any drugs before this. Nothing. And he takes a huge bong rip of this, and he says he immediately felt like he started to like slip through the floor. Mm-hmm. And like he remembers waking up and people kind of like pulling him out of water onto a boat. And like he's talking about this like it's a clear, specific memory, like this really happened. And basically he goes and tells a hour-long story of doing the salvia, and it transported him to like another, like he was a different person. He lived in Tyler, Texas, and he was like working a dead-end job somewhere, and he lived 8 years of time
in like a couple minutes
in a hallucination that was completely real, to the point where during the hallucination he was starting to think that he had imagined his previous life, because he had like some sort of brain damage from wrecking during water skiing when they were pulling him out of the boat. So he told this whole story, and like I said, he said he felt like he lived 8 years, because all of a sudden it was like at the end of the story, he's like, yeah, I started to feel like I fell through the ground again. And then I was back in my body and being like kind of shaken awake. And then like people being on the phone to 911 saying, oh no, he's fine. And they like hang up the phone. And apparently he had like done this hit in real time, kind of like had a seizure and kind of like fished out for a second and came back. In 45 seconds, he felt like he lived 8 years of real life. Like he paid his bills. He watched cable TV. He like had all of these specific, very clear memories of living that life of 8 years. Like he knew all the names of his friends, everybody. And
that's crazy.
It's just insane.
It was crazy when you just told me that he lived in this town and like, oh wow.
And, it makes me wonder, about like multiple dimensions and things like that. If that's like,
or just like what even happens. Because I'm taking a philosophy class right now, and it's like really like dualism and talking about, is your mind and your brain the same thing?
That's a good question.
And like there's still an argument up for this. And like, does your brain? I mean, obviously your brain makes your body do things.
Yeah.
But does your mind? Where does your mind play out and all that stuff?
Well, and it's just insane because even if there's not multiple dimensions, the fact that he lived 8 years of like a made up existence and like his brain created that, like imagine, like that's insane that your brain has the power to create an entire completely different reality.
My philosophy teacher told us the other day that humans only use like 1% of their brain, and that it was thought that Albert Einstein used 10% of his brain. Because I've always heard that we only use 10% of our brain.
Which is, from the research I've done, that's actually a false statement. Like that we only use 1% or whatever, because
it just depends on the person. Or?
Well, what the stuff that I've read says that you use your brain like uses all of its brain.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that we don't know what certain like compartments of our brain, what it actually does, like what it's related to. And like, so that stuff's firing like automatically. So to say that you only use 1% of your brain, like they say is false, that you're using 100% of your brain. But like, we don't know how, like the way the guy described it that I listened to said that there are like portions of our brain that are built like you could, for example, smoking weed like plugs in, and it's almost like a USB that you plug into your computer, like plugs into a certain part of your brain and lights up that part of your brain. Sure. So he says that there's multiple compartments in our brain that we've evolved for this, but they don't know why we have that spot, because there's nothing that like can plug into that will do something.
Oh, wow.
So that's an interesting thing that we could get into at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of
and do research on.
I would be down for that, but it's lately I'm in earth science, so I'm learning how like the earth works and like lava and like the different, like I didn't know that lava was the actual magma I think is what's inside of the volcano, and then lava is what's out. I didn't know that there was a difference, and like a lot of people say it wrong, or I probably might have said it. It might be vice versa. But anyways, I'm just saying
the mantle and the crust.
Yeah, so the mantle and the crust, and but basically, like it's just crazy that I'm kind of in this position where I'm learning about the Earth, and I'm in philosophy, and I'm in history. So like all these things combined have really, like, I've been laying down for bed at
probably
night,
blowing your mind.
Kind of like really like I've just had like how shitty we, like in my history class, how shitty we were to the Indians.
Yeah,
like there's basically this act that went into play, and I need to know this for my test, and I don't know. But anyways, they gave a bunch of Indians land, and then
that was already theirs.
Yeah,
perfect government thing.
But they made them all like
relocate.
So the whole thing of the Trail of Tears or whatever. So they were in like Georgia, and they made them go all the way up to I can't remember, but it's all the way up the top of the United States or whatever. And then a bunch of Indians died on the way there because they weren't eating, the weather, all this stuff, different stuff. But then they made them go there, and then they basically, like a couple of years later, they were like, okay, now you have to leave. Or now, like, they just basically, like, gave them land and then took away the land and, like, just did all this shitty stuff when they were, like, here first, which I already kind of knew that was the case. But just to really hear the specifics of how, like, shitty we treated, and black people, too. Like, I just because I'm right on post Civil War. Yeah. So it's like right when all that stuff was like 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, when black people got the right to vote, when black people got the right as citizens along with everybody else that wasn't, so that kind of stuff. And it's just crazy to see like the kind of things that was considered okay back then.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to kind of think about the stuff that's still okay now, though. I mean, that's definitely a perfect like government sided thing to be all like against the government with a lot of things, because for example, the CBD oil that we've talked about before that supposedly could help a lot of people. I don't know the science behind it, but we're trying to keep it illegal here in Indiana, which Indiana's light years behind everybody else on almost everything.
Well, it's crazy that like we would talk about ourselves as like the land of the free and all that stuff. And with the net neutrality thing, like we're making a big deal about that, which is, it's a big deal now and today. But like some of the stuff that they let fly back in the day were just like, if you think the government's corrupt, just look at history and some of the things that they would do. Just like they would tell Indians one thing, like, okay, here's your this is your land, and then just take it out and like make them, tell them to like. And they would stop them from going to like other countries like Canada and stuff and like capture them and they would tell them where they had to settle. They would have to go to a settlement. I just thought it was crazy that it's like, if you need evidence that the government is corrupt, just look at the past.
But there's also, I mean, the back to conspiracy theories, there's time travelers. So there's probably people going back and forcing those things into play so that our world doesn't just like explode.
That's probably a thing. I don't know. Time travel's crazy. That's a whole nother just rabbit hole.
It's something that I feel will happen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
I think that too, but there's probably other people out there that just
are like, you guys are stupid.
And then there's been, I've watched these like little videos, which obviously like I have no idea how, true any of the facts they're spewing out, but it'll be on Facebook or whatever. And they're talking about how the government has had time travel, the power to do it, and they're just keeping it secret. Yeah. And like, because I mean, that would be a thing that they would do for sure. Like they don't want people to know that they're controlling stuff by using time travel.
Yeah. But I have a feeling that if it is real, they have no way of knowing how to utilize it. So they're just like afraid to use it.
Well, it would seem like that they would obviously have someone do it. And then it had like a part of it has to be like scientific and mathematical and all this stuff put together. And there's people out there that, I mean, math's pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? So like if they have all this stuff comes into play, then exactly what you're getting, and the scientist or mathematician or whatever might know what they're doing. But
well, I mean, they've even had like that. I love Ancient Aliens when they talk about like Hitler got into like a time machine or something like that, and like him and his like crew just
they say this
disappeared.
In Ancient Aliens.
Oh yeah, it may not be Hitler. It might just be like one of his generals or something. But like supposedly one of his generals, they were like tampering with time travel science or something like that, and that he disappeared in this like capsule thing that they had created and reappeared, I think either it was in the future, like it was somewhere in the future, but also at the same time, it goes back to, I would love to know if those pictures that are always circulating on the internet are real or not, because have you seen the picture of the guy that looks like he's like a modern day hipster?
We talked about this, and he's just standing,
but he's standing in like a crowd of people that are dressing like with the like current, 20s or 30s or 40s clothes. Like,
I have seen that.
I wonder if that's real or not, or somebody just created that just to start
that's
shit
the
on
thing.
the internet.
That's kind of what I was talking about with the videos that I watch. Like, you never know with Facebook, because it's just like, you don't know where, I mean, I guess it tells you where it comes from, but it's always like some group that's like solely based on either coming up with content, you know. So like you don't know where that came from, where that picture came from, whether it's true.
And another creepy thing, I swear that sometimes I'll be watching Family Guy and they'll like make a joke making fun of something that exactly either I'm doing or did or I'm like talking about right in, like in that same time frame. It's so weird because, for example, there was a recent Family Guy and they make fun of podcasting. They're like, we're going to start a podcast and we're going to talk about all the topics that everybody else has already talked about and like blah blah blah, and like making fun of podcasts. And then then Peter gets offered a job because he plays some song by accident. He gets offered a job as like a DJ. And then they like describe a DJ, and my wife is just laughing, and I'm like, "What are you laughing about?" And she's like, "That's you. You're the douchebag that would play the same song over and over."
I've always thought that you could be the guy that does like that could be your side gig. You could do like weddings and karaoke.
I don't know about that.
You go up to Bugsy's right now and be like, let him listen to 5 minutes of you talk on a radio.
Exactly.
And be like, you got a job, sir.
But yeah, it's funny because it's weird that it like hits right at home while you're watching it. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, I think that just goes along with like, say you got a new car, and
then you see
you
all
start
the
seeing
same
that
car.
I think that's the same.
I agree with that, but then I also have said like my theory quite a bit is that we're all kind of like connected, like our higher conscious is like kind of connected, because there will be times that we're talking about something that is so obscure and so like finite, like it's in a movie or it's like, but it's like something that only we have seen and we've noticed it, like when we're talking to each other, and then you know you'll see it or listen to it and you'll hear somebody else talking about the exact same subject, but they live in the other side of the world.
Well, I think like with the internet now, and there's just so much access to information and different facets, like you can find someone that agrees with just about any idea.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so it's like easy to just go on the internet and find like-minded people that have like the same with anything. Like if you just like have this weird like, I like to go in my backyard and kill cats, and you get on like straight.
I really hope that doesn't exist.
Some straight, yeah, that's
no website for that.
Those are the pre traits of a murderer. People that like to do that kind of weird shit.
Yeah. Sociopaths.
Just an example of, you could go on, you know what I mean? So you can find people that on the dark web. Actually, Chris D'Elia was talking about the dark web.
Yeah.
Like there's like he likes to talk about how there's a scale. And it's like, you know, the glacier scale or whatever, where it shows the tip top of it underneath. Yeah. He's like, they use that for everything. It was cracking me up.
Yeah. I've never even tried to get into the dark web. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know. Yeah, me neither. I don't know how do you get into it, or do you just
it's so weird to think about, because it's like, so there's this part of the internet that people can't access, but it's still the internet, so shouldn't anybody be able to get to it if they wanted to?
And with net neutrality, how does that all
whatever? I'm
so confused.
It's too much.
So many answers out there,
and it's too much for us, because the minimum amount of technological savvy that we have is to be able to do this podcast.
Yeah, it's probably, I wonder how many people have listened to the first like 5 minutes of our podcast and been like, God, these guys are idiots.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens.
Yeah,
I don't care.
But we're very specific for a specific group of people.
Oh yeah, and so we are getting kind of towards the end. Is there one last thing that you would like to say to anybody, or do you just want to? You want me to finish it up?
Take it home.
All right, so please, ladies and gentlemen, rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, what happened to that guy that was giving reviews for a minute? He was like, just listen to it. It's pretty good. Remember that guy? He's just gone. Definitely
review the show, because I don't know how to stress this to you guys enough. Reviewing the show on our Apple Podcasts, it used to be iTunes, reviewing the show and rating the show gets it in front of more people, so more people can be a part of it. The other thing I would like you to do is share it with a friend or a family member, or just a random complete stranger. Like, I don't care if you share it with a complete stranger. It doesn't matter to me.
Just if you're at a bar listening to this, look at the guy to your right and say, hey, man, you like podcasts?
Yep, exactly. And if they ask you what it's about, I wanted to just kind of tell them it is pure, unbridled entertainment. and just leave it at that.
Just tell them everything.
Yeah.
What's it about? Everything.
And just leave it at that.
Yeah,
don't try to.
They're gonna be like,
don't try to
man.
describe it.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
Yep.
And that'll be mysterious, and people will want to see it.
People love mysteriousness.
Of course, they do. They
do,
really do.
That's how back in the day I used to get the ladies. You know,
Everybody thinks that it's a podcast about basketball. You can tell them it's not about basketball.
Yeah. But like I said, back in the day, I would, like, girls would be like, "What's up?" Like, you know, I would just be really vague and mysterious, and they'd be like, "Oh man, he's." And then when they got to know me, they're like, "Oh,
or
shit."
somebody would be like, "Oh, he's a dick. He's just really
that
quiet."
too. I got a lot of that too. Yeah. It's hit or miss, you know.
So the other thing is, I want people to email us questions, comments, anything. Just email us to, tell us we suck if you want. I don't care.
And just tell us stuff you want to hear.
Yeah. It's juiceinthemorning@gmail.com. Obviously, it's juiceinthemorning@gmail.com. It's not hard to spell. It's not hard to spell. And then facebook.com/juiceinthemorning. We're also on the Magic Squirrel Network. Mm-hmm. It is a Facebook page. It is facebook.com/Magic Squirrel Network. It's pretty easy to spell as well. I'm not going to spell it for you. Twitter @JuiceInTheAM. Instagram as well @JuiceInTheAM. We are posting more stuff on Instagram.
Trying to.
We are. I did a little bit of video this morning, and there will be more funny videos of us being out and partying later on after February is over.
Was this your breakfast video?
No.
A lot of breakfast with you.
I do. I love breakfast. Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day.
Steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs, hash browns. Today I made breakfast tacos, a little avocado.
Yeah. It's actually a burrito, but
it's a breakfast taco.
It's not a taco.
Why is it not a taco?
Because it's not a taco shell.
I folded it in half,
but
it's a tortilla shell.
All right,
come on.
All right, whatever you say.
I can't even. That's a funny thing is I can't fold tortillas into a burrito. I've never been able to do that.
I bet you could watch a 8-second YouTube video.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to get it all over my hands, and it'd be just a mess like it always is.
It works.
Thank you guys for listening. I love doing the show just with Shane and I. We're going to work on the segments. They're going to get better. They're going to get tightened up a little bit. And we've nailed the Judgment Day segment. I mean,
next time you won't have to listen to us call a bar and then them tell us they're busy.
They're busy and then leave us alone.
And then we're like, okay, bye.
Well, I still to this day I think you should have done it because it's your idea.
I'm not ripping on you. I know you did fine.
I didn't do great.
No, I would have done the same thing.
If I would have thought about it, I probably would have had a better comeback. But I'm not good on the fly.
I would have done the same thing because she was like, "We're really busy," and I was like, "Oh shit!" So like I would have hung up too.
But I appreciate the people watching on the Facebook Live as well. This will be up on YouTube. I'm going to try to get it up tonight. I'm going to get it up Sunday night. Okay. So, as always,
thanks for watching and listening. And hopefully the juice was worth the squeeze.
Boom.
Juice in the morning.